What's up, everybody? Welcome to Monday. It's December 9th. Today is the 9th day of my 31-day series of how to start your photography business in 2025. Yesterday was Recharge Day. We talked about recharging and refocusing and being prepared for the following week. How to sit back and relax, recuperate, and then come back strong. I gave you some tips on how to set up your social media, on how to do automatic drops, how to prepare for a week, how to be prepared a week in advance. That way you don't have to wake up today and feel like you have to post something. So if you didn't see that video, go back and watch that video. Today's topic is going to be about your the launch of your photography business, or if you have your business right now, the topic is going to be more of it being a marathon and not a sprint. And that's tough, even for me, because I want to always go full charge. I always want to be like in Ricky Bobby, Talladega Nights, when he goes, if you ain't first, you're last. And that's the mindset of business, and it's hard to get away from that. But when you do, and you start thinking of the journey instead of it being a race, and what you're doing to establish you being victorious in whatever you're going to do, is when you start to understand everything that goes into play. When I was little, my dad's from Mexico. So at a young age, I was taught that you have to work hard. Of course, him being from Mexico, he didn't have any kind of papers and stuff like that. So we had to do what we could to make money. And I was young. A lot of people don't want to do that when they're young. They don't want to go work because they want to spend time with friends. They want to go out and enjoy life. They want to do things that any little kid wants to do. But my father instilled in me at a young age that you got to work hard for everything. You got to work hard for whatever your goals are, whatever you want to achieve. For you to enjoy life, it takes hard work. So he established a work ethic in me that to this day, I can't get rid of. It's hard for me to relax. So I'm trying to use those days to refocus and recharge. When I was little, and like I said, I was working with my dad, he took the jobs that people didn't take. If you don't have papers, you got to take what you can get. So we would jump on the back of the trucks, like in the movies. I know a lot of people laugh about that. They're like, I need 2, I need 3, I need 1. We were doing that. And you have 2 choices in life. You could be embarrassed about what you did or where you come from, or you could be proud of that. You could be proud of where you come from, what's been established in you. And I'm proud to say what I did at a young age. I'm proud to say that I'm part of that society that took on jobs and did what we had to do to make sure our family is fed. And I thank my father for that all the time. He's not with us anymore, but when I have that conversation in my head, it's on the daily, and I'm like, hey, you know what, Dad, thank you for what you instilled in me. Thank you for building the man that I am today. In business, we're going to have to do a lot of stuff that we don't want to do. We want to get out there. We want to be in the photography world. You want to be creative. You want to drop new stuff. You want to get out there, do podcasts. You want to do everything that's creative side. But the business side is a must. The business side is what's going to sustain everything. If you don't run your business effectively, you're not going to be able to do all this extra stuff. And that's what we're going to be talking about. It takes a lot of foundation building. It takes a lot of hard work to establish yourself, especially in a sea of photographers or in a sea of other businesses. When COVID hit, we saw a lot of new businesses pop up, the tumblers and stuff like that. And as you're looking at these people, you're like, oh my God, that's an awesome idea. That's badass. I wish I could have done that. but we don't see, what it took to make those things. Yeah, some of the videos they showed the behind the scenes, and those are the ones that took off because we got to see how they did stuff. But in life in general, they always say the grass is greener on the other side. You're passing by a yard and you're like, man, that grass is so green. Mine's like choppy. Mine's like, ugh. And you're thinking, how did they get that? How did they do that? And you start admiring, and then it goes from admiration to a little form of jealousy. You're like, how? Why is their grass greener and mine's not? And if we took a moment and you walked up and you looked at that grass, sometimes you'll realize it's turf. And then you step back and then you realize, hey, I'm putting all this stuff into my grass and doing all this work, and that stuff is turf. Or they have a team that comes in and builds, takes care of their yard, and you don't have that. That doesn't mean that your stuff is not good. That doesn't mean that your efforts, everything that you put into your grass is not going to pay off in the long run. I'll touch base on the Marine Corps. When I was 17, turning 18, I was shipped off to the Marine Corps. And in the Marine Corps, when you get in, they have a certain set, their foundation of what they do. And it hasn't changed for the history of the Marine Corps. They made a little kind of adaptations to their program to make sure that no one gets hurt and stuff like that. But their program has always been the same. I've talked to the old dogs. I've talked to new Marines. The program is always the same. Now, about the other services, I don't know. I think their stuff changes and stuff, with everything that goes on in life. But the Marine Corps has always been the same. And it's hush-hush, They'll show you what you need to see. But everything else, it's a brotherhood, and they keep that quiet. We keep that quiet. So in boot camp, when you get there, you show up and you get off the bus and you're just a total wreck, your head's not even shaved yet. At MAPS, they kind of prepare you for everything, but you step on these footprints, and then that is the first step as becoming a Marine. And you can't move until they tell you to move. They're building, you're going through their guidelines, their stuff on a daily. The first week of boot camp is the most brutal time of your life because they're looking to break you. They're looking to take whatever you've learned in the past and build a new man. They don't want anything of where you come from. They want to make you a machine. And when they're doing that, you're just like, what is the purpose? You're not understanding anything. And that's like in business. You don't understand what people are doing. You don't understand the groundwork. Well, so they shave your head, they give you your clothes, they issue you a rifle, and they start their process. Well, in the middle of the process, you got to go to chow. And if you're new to the service and stuff like that, you don't know how to march. You don't know how to walk in unison. You don't know how to do the cadence. They actually don't even do a cadence. They're just like, your left. And then they start screaming at you because you're like, you look like a total hot mess as you're running down. You don't get to lace up your boots. You don't get to press your clothes. You don't get to do none of that stuff because it's earned on a weekly basis. One thing is earned every single time. So they don't let you do that. Your hat's to a tilt. You're just a walking mess. You don't have a belt. I don't know how it is now, but I'm sharing how it was when I was in. So you're walking a chow, and they don't keep all the different platoons different or separate. They don't. If this platoon's been in boot camp for 2 months, they don't keep that. So we all go to chow together. So you're trying to march. You're stumbling around. Look like I could imagine. I could step out of my body and look at what or think of what I looked like at that time. So you're marching, and then you see this platoon come right by. Perfect. Their boots are they're laced up. Their clothes are pressed. I mean, it's just, you could throw a quarter and it's gonna just chuck right back at you. You're like, bam! Their hats are done. And you can't look because you're going to start getting screamed at. You can't look at, you got to look forward. But I try to look on the side and I'm like, man, that's what I want to be. The admiration, the jealousy kicks in. But it's foundation building, and they show you this stuff. They're walking down, they're all doing their cadences beautifully, and they show you that because they want you to see what you can become. But you got to go through this stuff first. And that's the same way in business. A lot of times we just want to run out there and start competing, start saying, hey, I'm doing meetings, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. Hire me. I'm just as good as them. When you know your talent skill is not even on par with some of these photographers that have been out there for 20, 30 years. And that's when you got to do a lot of self-realization and go back to the plate and be like, am I ready for that? You got to go back and build your foundation. You got to learn your photography. You got to learn how to use your camera. You got to learn all the skills. And then the same way with the launch, you want to get out there, you're excited. We talk about that a lot, being excited, and you want to share, hey, I got a business now. But you got to build your website. You got to build your Google profile. You got to build all the stuff that's going to sustain you. I don't understand how people can just get out there and start a business and not build that foundation, not build. Google Business Profile is a powerful tool, but it's heavily unused. Google Business Profile is attached to Google Maps. It tells these people where you're at, and it gives recommendations. So I'll go and I'll look at some of these businesses out there, and they don't even have their reviews on there. They don't have their website. They don't have their location, and they're not sharing products nor updates. For my new photographers, make sure you focus on Google Profile. That's one of the tools that we'll talk about later. As we continue through this series, I'm going to focus one video on each of the different platforms or each of the different windows for these customers to find you. But back on the Marines, in the theme of this video that I'm sharing with you on the race, another thing they would have us do is they would have us run in boots and our camouflage. Sometimes even with packs in our water and stuff like that. That stuff is heavy. And you're running and you're like, oh, every bone in your body is hurting. But like I said, they're building a foundation. And as you're running, you're like, I can't keep doing this, but it's daily. You wake up at 4 in the morning, you go to chow, and then you go run. You go do your PT daily. That is always on, that's every single day you're doing PT. And if you're like me and you got in trouble a lot, you had your PT and then you had your PT again. I have a problem with laughing. And when I'm stressed out, I start to laugh. So you'll see me laugh on here. Some things may not even be funny, but it's me because I'm nervous. It's me because that is what I do when I get either nervous or upset. I start laughing. Well, laughing in front of a drill instructor doesn't work. It gets you more trouble. But anyways, so we were running every day. And I'm like, dude, why we gotta run? And I see the same platoon just run by, singing beautiful cadences, galloping like horses, like, while we're just stumbling. And I had a hard time running. It wasn't until later I realized that I had a problem with one of my legs that wasn't identified when I was younger. So we kept running. And I kept getting better and kept getting better. And when we run, we're not running fast. We're running steady. No one's sprinting. Everybody is in line. And then we got to the end of boot camp. And I'll be honest with you, when we were running, I mean, a lot of us were falling back. Throughout boot camp, I mean, a lot of us were crying. We were breaking down. And the drill instructors, you know, some of them would be screaming at us. But I had this one drill instructor blank. He would whisper to me, he's like, don't give up. Don't give up. You got this. You're going to be a Marine. You got this. Get up. I believe in you. And that was in my ear while these other guys were like, you're effing trash. You're not worth anything. And since I've graduated, and even now, you know, years later down the road, his words still ring in my head. You know, don't give up. Keep doing what you gotta do. I believe in you. So at the end of boot camp, through all this progress and all this foundation building, came our day where we had our physical PTs to graduate boot camp. And at that time, they're like, hey, you're not gonna run in boots. You're not gonna run in your camis. You're not gonna run with any kind of water. You're gonna run in your tennis shoes and just those little green shorts from the 80s or whatever. And so I'm getting ready to run. And they're like, this time you're not running in unison. You're running for yourself. And I ran fast, and it was nonstop. I mean, I was just running. My legs didn't hurt. I didn't have that extra weight, and I looked like a horse. I could see it, like dun, 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 dun. I was just running. I could picture that in my head, and I was crying, and tears were falling from my head because I didn't give up on myself, and I understood the foundation that they built, or they were building in me to make me a better person. And that was one of the best experiences of my life. Success, victory. And those words in my ear that still linger in my head, just like my father's words. Don't give up. Stay strong, keep focusing. It's not a sprint. Everything takes time. And that's gonna be tough. I don't mean to get emotional or anything. That's what it does to me, just thinking back. Another thing about boot camp is, as you're progressing through boot camp, they have the Marine Corps cadence, from the halls of Montezuma. Well, when you get there, after you make it through the first stage of, being the trash of the Marine Corps, they start teaching you this one part of the song before you go to sleep. So, they would be, all right, girls, let's go ahead and sing it. And you'll be, from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli. Stop. Then they would tell us, you didn't earn the rest. Next week, we'll do the second verse and the first verse. Third week, we'll do the first, second, third. So by the time you're done with boot camp, every Sunday we would go to church, and the graduating boot camp before us would sing that whole song, and you're just like, you're only allowed to sing the portion that you're allowed to sing. But they would sing it entirely, and you knew they were going home. And I wanted to sing that whole song. And by the time I got to sing that whole song, I sang it with everything inside of me. I was bawling, I was crying. It just came out of my arms, just out of every single pore. And I sang that, and I sang it loud and proud. And that's how I do everything now. Make everything count. Understand that you're not going to see results right away. You're not going to see everything come to you. And that's okay. The grass is going to be green on the inside. But like I said, you don't know if it's turf. You don't know if they're polishing the turd. Appearance is never going to be what you think it is. Your goals are not going to be what other goals of some other people are. You're not going to be matched perfectly in line. One thing that's helped me in my business growth when I started, I created a vision board. I learned it from someone outside of photography. I learned that what you want and what you're willing to go through, you should have that in front of you. You should have your goals. You should have your vision. Sorry, making sure I don't have any coffee in my face. So I have this vision board. I've had it since I started our business, and I take things down that I've achieved, and then I put stuff that I want. But to get that stuff, I gotta do what I don't want to do. I don't want to do the business side and stuff like that. I want to be out there. I want to be on here. I want to do things that other people, that I see them doing. But not realizing that as they're doing this stuff, they're slacking on this. So why not build this while they're over here focusing on all this other stuff, and build this to a monster beast? So when I come out here, I know that regardless of what I do, that stuff is building. That stuff is what's going to be bringing in my clients. or helping my business grow. And this whole video is meant to help you realize that it don't matter what kind of green is out there. It doesn't matter what you're faced with. It matters what's inside of you. It matters that you know that the foundation you're building is going to be providing fruit. You know that you planting a seed daily in your growth is going to result in something in the long run. You don't have to run fast. A lot of times these people that have, shiny cameras and all this stuff, there's a moment in their career. I'm not wishing that upon anybody, but it's something I see a lot of. They'll come out hitting hard, be booking and stuff like this, and then boom, business swaps, business changes. They start freaking out. They're like, hey, I need to change my pricing. I need to go down cheaper. I need to fight. I need to give out. I need to give stuff away. But it's because they didn't build the value in the long run. They didn't build something that would sustain them. They didn't prepare them for the quarters in business that come. Right now we're in a slow quarter. Everybody is. Some people are prepared already. The people that are established, we're building for the next quarter. They're not focused on this because they prepared for it. And that's what I'm hoping to do with these videos, is help you prepare for slow times so you don't have to panic and freak out at the last minute and be like, I gotta give away blood just to get customers. It takes time. You have to remember your why in everything. You have to remember, why am I doing this? Why am I going through this? Why am I suffering? Why am I not doing this? The vision board is going to help you. The stuff you don't see in the long run. The foundation, like kind of what I shared with you with my father or the Marine Corps. I think about those daily. I think about, you know what? I'm not where I want to be yet, but I'm going to be. Same way with this, me coming on here and speaking. I don't have to do this. I know some people look at the stuff and, but I gotta stay focused. If I wanna be better, I gotta do this. If I want change, I gotta do this. If I wanna be out in public more, or I wanna be different than what I am, I gotta do this stuff. So sometimes I don't wanna do it. Sometimes, with life going on and stuff like that, whatever I'm facing, it makes it hard, But it's rewarding at the end. Like right now, as I'm doing this video, like I said, I don't try to put everything all in front of me. I have a little bit of notes that I look down at. But it's like I was saying, it's about the journey and not so much about the results. The journey for me is I'm reminding myself of why I'm doing things. And like right now, I didn't even know I was going to talk about the Marine Corps. And realize how emotional and how proud I am that I went through that. Or thinking about, jumping on the back of trucks while other people are kicking ball and having a good time during summer. Me busting rocks on the outskirts of San Antonio with a whole bunch of Mexicans, But it was good. I'm recharged from yesterday. I'm refocused. And I'm remembering my why. I'm remembering my who I'm doing this for. My family, my kids, my wife, myself. A lot of times we lose track of why, we lose track of making sure that we do things for our own self because we're trying to fill everybody else. We're trying to make other people happy. Sometimes we give more of ourselves to other people instead of giving it here. So I know it's been a long video, kind of emotional. I didn't mean to shed some tears. I'm glad I did. Sometimes my true side will come out in this, and like I said, some people were laughing about me talking about being this egg and the hard shell that's on the outside. But sometimes there's little cracks and the beauty inside comes out. So, yeah. I hope you're here with me tomorrow. I hope this message was for you. If you're struggling with that, if it turns into admiration, or from admiration to jealousy and stuff like that, step back. Look at that. Look at where they're at and look at where you're at. Reanalyze yourself and refocus. Come back from looking at other people and looking at your vision board. Focus on your dreams, focus on your goals, rebuild yourself. In silence, build your foundation, because that foundation is going to last any kind of race. People will get tired of a sprint, and then they'll have nothing to fall back on. My last thing about races, marathons or sprints or whatever, make sure you have the right people in your corner. Make sure that the people that are in your corner are not the ones that stepped out of the darkness of the bystanders, criticizing you. Make sure you have a strong corner. In boxing, most of the boxers that win is because they had a strong corner. A lot of the times the ones that lost, you look at that corner and they have to take as much blame as the fighter if they didn't prepare them that well. So analyze your corner, make sure who's with you is really with you, and make sure that the ones that, are the snakes in the garden, that you cut them out. That's gonna be hard. It's gonna be real hard picking out who is who. One way is stop giving yourself to everybody. Give more to yourself instead of them. So I'll see you tomorrow. I know, like I said, it was an emotional video. Thank you for your time. As always, this is for YouTube. Come join us over there. If you're going through some stuff, drop a comment. If you got some ideas or you need help with something, drop a comment. Let me know what you want me to talk about. If it wasn't for you, then it just wasn't for you. My old Vanguard, if any of these tips help you, awesome. And we'll see you tomorrow. Deuces.